Good evening. I'd like to open up the Hinckley Township public hearing and wrong meeting. Regular meeting at 6:00 p.m. Martha, can I get a roll call, please?
Augustine?
Here.
Here.
Oh my God.
Astral.
Marzullo and Astral are here.
Wow.
We're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to get right into our minutes. Trustees, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes that were sent over? We have November 15th work session, November 15th regular trustee meeting, and November 22nd work session.
Yes.
Any adaptations, modifications?
I was just going to add into the work session that we did not have that commission.
Yeah, which one?
The last one we had.
22nd?
No, the one when Jeremy came out. Was that
15th.
the 15th? Sorry, Martha. I was just gonna have in there. I did not see that Medina County Commissioner Colleen Sweattick was in attendance.
Okay, I will add.
I know her.
You know her.
Do you?
I do.
Perfect. And then I only have one change in the regular meeting minutes. Page 4, Martha. Second paragraph, first sentence. I inform the trustees that I'm zoning inspector Wilson and fire chief Roosevelt zoning commission chair Fisher had met with, and it wasn't actually a Pride One representative, it was the Medina County Prosecutor's Office and the Medina County engineers.
So a rep from the prosecutor's office, and can I keep
We did,
engineering staff or representative from the
staff is fine.
Okay.
And that was the only adaptation. that I did.
So 2 amended minutes, 11:15 and regular and work session as amended, and 11:22 as is.
Am I allowed to do a so moved?
Go for it.
Otherwise, I'm gonna just repeat what you just said.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good, thank you. All right, we do not have the police chief here this evening.
Fire
or-
chief is on his
Fire
way.
chief is on his way, and I think we're now, sorry. is
He
coming
has
in?
got a pass.
Okay, wonderful. He's not coming in. So we're gonna move right along to zoning. We have to schedule the dates for the zoning commission interviews. We received 2 applications. The deadline is this Friday at noon. So if anyone's interested in being a part of the zoning commission, we will be interviewing for that open position. And actually, I kind of wanted to see if we could just culminate this with, I see Trustee Ashley, you and I both have the work session for the organizational meeting on both of our agendas. And I was looking at the calendar that Suzanne had given us, which December is going to be quite a
Whirlwind.
unique month in nature. So my suggestion is that we just make the work session on the 13th instead of doing the handbook, just making that the organizational meeting and the interviews, and come back to the handbook in January. I don't think we're going to finish it anyway. Any thoughts? I think we're going to need at least 2 more meetings before we complete that handbook or manual, as one might call it.
Yeah, so we'll just do interviews starting at 4.
Probably do interviews starting at 6, just so folks who are working can get here. Well, we could do the organizational meeting at 4:30. I think an hour and a half is adequate time. Thoughts, Martha?
Well, I would have, I mean, usually the organizational meetings have been during the day, so that the department heads don't have to come back for it. How does that week between Christmas and New Year's, or,
That will not work for me.
and how about the week after?
The week after is what we're running into. We've got a zoning commission meeting on the 5th, and our first trustee meeting is on the 3rd. So what we were discussing is that the 2nd is the offices are closed, so no department heads will be available. Because
And there's no opportunity on the 3rd during the day, because again, you know, it's another evening for the department heads to come back.
Well, what if we did something during the day? Well, I mean, I don't know how anybody's gonna feel about this because it's December 23rd. I can do during the day on the 23rd.
The offices are closed.
Oh, yeah. I can do,
You have fun.
it's,
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll do
it's in red bold print and I don't know how I missed it. I can do the 27th.
I can't do that week at all.
What's wrong with the 20th?
You want to do the organizational meeting before the trustee meeting?
That's what I'm asking.
Well, usually there's a work session. I would not, I mean, obviously, the organizational meeting is always done before the first meeting in January. So you have two different meetings.
Mhm,
One is the work session where a lot of discussion occurs
mhm.
as to different things.
Executive session with the trustees regarding pay and things of that nature. It can be a lengthy meeting.
You know what I would suggest? I would say that you.
Can we not do that on the
So you're
20th?
not gonna. There's a lot of things in the organizational meeting that are rote and standard.
Mhm.
You guys actually had, I think, 3 meetings last year
Yeah.
before you
Too, but yeah.
got down to nuts and bolts. I have 3 sets of minutes as to different wages and et cetera. So the one thing, if you can't find a time in the month of December to do this, you could always approve the road items that keep us in business, you know, cemetery, you do, and then you can always go back and have another work session meeting and amend those. It's only a week. You can amend them, you can change them. Well, that's what you guys did last
Well,
year.
we did most of the discussions with the department heads and everything in the executive session and work session, right?
Right.
So,
That's what we're scheduling as the work.
right, so
I just don't know
What-
if everybody, all the department heads are ready to have this conversation next Tuesday. I don't know, maybe they are. I'm not sure.
The 20th is 2 weeks.
Well, she said the 13th.
I did. I
right?
said the 13th,
Yeah.
because we already have a work session scheduled for the
13th.
policy, not the non-union
That's
employee.
next Tuesday.
So I just thought, why don't we just push that into January? We're not going to complete it on the 13th anyway, and utilize the 13th for the organizational work session and interviews for the zoning commission positions.
you don't think they'd be ready in a
Because
week?
my schedule is just going to get crazier. I'm not going to have as much availability going into January.
Well, to Jack's point, what if we did, they're already gonna be here on the 20th
Right.
for the regular meeting. So if we had the work session on the 20th at like 4 o'clock. So we did work session from 4 until 6:30.
That would make sense, because that would allow you guys to go into executive session if you need be at the regular meeting
Yeah, that's fine too.
on that.
So
Do you have any conflicts on that day?
No, I got plenty of time out. I can get my
is Dave gonna be in
son
town
to,
for the
my
20th?
mother-in-law can take my son to Taekwondo. That
Okay.
I have plenty of time to make
Is that
coverage
what
for
she's
that.
Going out of town.
So the 20th at 4 o'clock? And then what about interviews?
If not, we'll get, she was just asking if Chief was going to be in town. I said, if not, we'll get
He will.
Schroll.
here
He'll be
on
back?
the
Okay.
20th. Yeah.
So then we'll cut the next work session next Tuesday, the 13th. We'll cut that and we'll just have a special meeting at 6 for interviews.
Okay, and then a 4 o'clock work session on the 20th for the purpose or the organizational meeting
Mhm.
or the organization. Martha, are you available at 4 o'clock on the 20th for those minutes?
Yeah, that's Tuesday.
Yes. Perfect. That crosses 3 things off of our agenda. Thank you.
So you are still going to meet next
Tuesday, the
for
13th.
Interviews then, or the manual?
Both. The
Okay.
manual will be at 4 o'clock with a special meeting to follow at 6 for interviews. And if everyone's in agreement, I'll go ahead and let Chief Grossenbaugh go. Since he's arrived.
That's fine.
Okay. Chief Grossenbaugh, thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys. First item is request appropriations of a total not to exceed $19,300. I'm here. I'm sorry, guys. Coming in late with you guys talking, I'm sorry. Request appropriations not to exceed $19,300 for 5 sets of turnout gears. Turnout gear, which is the pants and jacket, 5 of the hoods for firefighters Tom Kolar, Lee Brass, Jared Solomon, Josh Bluno, and Bianca Inman, and 3 pairs of turnout gear boots for firefighter Logan Davis, Tristan Batani, and Lee Brass from Fire Safety Services.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I'm sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
But I have a question.
Sure.
Before that. Did you put a buffer in there? We talked-
Yes, I did. Yes, we did. We actually went back and looked at a lot of the boot stuff. The turnout gear, it comes from Medina, so it's free shipping.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Next is request appropriations not to exceed $470 for boots and turnout gear gloves for firefighter Vic Irwin. I will pronounce it. He just started. I'll get it correct next time through Fire Safety Services.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Next is request appropriations not to exceed $600 for knockdown walkaway brackets for engine 31-2 from 911 Fleet and Fire Equipment. These will, since we got the SCBA grant from FEMA, the bottles are bigger and we had to replace the brackets that hold them in our engine.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Next is request appropriations for $567 for bags for 35 SCBA masks from Gulls, along with the SCBA's. Each member is issued a mask, so this protects it as they store it with their gear.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Last is request approval to accept resignation of firefighter Jerry Breshenhan, effective immediately. He took a more or less a full-time job at the post office. He needed more hours than he was able to, that we're actually able to provide for him for personal reasons.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The other thing that's not on here, I talked to Monique, our firefighter or our Santa parade is December 18th. And Broadview Heights did a live tracker of the procession as they did it. And we would like to know if we would be able to put the link to the live track on the website during the 18th, so people can sign in and follow us live feed as we drive through the township.
I think that would be great. There are a lot of the little kids that want to see Santa and Mrs. Claus and
Yep.
don't quite know where he is.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Fine by me.
Go ahead.
Just so you are aware, I already had Lynn look into it today. Lynn cannot do a link
Okay,
in the banner.
okay,
So as of right now, it would just be like, she'd add it in,
sure.
not in
Yeah.
a banner, but she's continuing to
Perfect. I'll
research
have her
that.
talk to Jen
And
about it.
also, you forgot to mention the most important part, is that now Santa's going down 303.
Oh, yes. So we will be going down 303. We mixed up our route a little bit. On the state routes through Route 3, 303. He will go into the fire engine for safety reasons, because we won't go slow on those state routes so that we don't cause traffic congestion, especially in the camelbacks on there. But he
Mrs.
will
Claus,
be on Mrs.
you're
Claus.
not gonna
Everybody
leave
will
her
be in
sleigh.
in the cab of the engine, so waving and all that stuff. But the map will be posted online through the Facebook group shortly. And then we'll have the live feed with the Santa tracker, and Jen will continue to do Facebook updates as we go through the parade.
So my only concern is that Lynn is not coming back into the office. She's out of the office. So who's going to navigate the?
She's here tomorrow. Mhm.
What, today was her last day?
No, she's here tomorrow.
All right.
So she's going to dig a little bit deeper and she already told me, she said Suzanne can do it. So like if we're just adding a banner without the link, but I
Sure.
said the link is important.
Yeah, the
So she
links.
said Suzanne can add the link in. That's fine. And
Perfect.
she was just gonna dig down a little bit deeper on that. So, yes.
Perfect.
And then I'm going to jump ahead to an item in my agenda while we have Chief here in case there are any questions about it. Since our levy did pass and we are going to be going to 3-person coverage, we had a meeting with Jess, Sean, and Jen and I, kind of looking at the model of how that's going to look. And we talked about, got Martha's approval for it. The budget allows for it. Instead of waiting until January 1st to go to 3-person staffing, we thought that it would be probably in the better interest of everyone in the township if we go to 3-person staffing starting the week of Christmas. So December 18th at 8 a.m. moving to 3-person staffing, since we have so many people in from out of town and just a lot of, I think, accidents happen much more that week, starting the week of Christmas. So we wanted to make sure that you were both okay with that, and if you had any questions.
No, I think it's great. Couldn't come any sooner.
No, I agree.
And the funding's available.
Funding's available.
Okay.
We could have done it December 1st if we wanted to, but we said, no, let's ease into it. So December 18th at 8 a.m.
Very good.
Very good.
Official.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Does anyone else have questions for Chief Rosenberg?
I have a question so that we can get word out. Will you guys end up at Hinckley Elementary at 3?
We around there, yes. That's where we're going around. Jen's going to reach out to the elementary school, make sure that's still okay. That is the plan, but
Visit the website and track us.
Okay.
I think we were close to it last year.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, I think we were close to the 3 o'clock time.
Very good.
Can you
Anyone
get me
else?
off of Santa's blacklist?
I will talk to him. for
You
You
can't
got it.
work magic, Jack. You need an elf to keep you in line.
Anyone else have any questions for Chief Rosenbaum?
Thank you guys very much. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Chief. Have a good night.
You too.
Do you want to tackle the service department?
Yes, the only thing from service is an amendment. Make a motion to amend November 15, 2022 motion requesting appropriations for emergency repair to Unit 13 by Valley Truck Centers from $2,346.59 to $3,485.09.
Second. Sorry. Just increase.
Just an increase.
Okay. Augustine seconds.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Trustee Astral.
Well, we've knocked pretty much everything off of mine except the office coverage during the week of Christmas. I believe this is the new one that Suzanne just made up this week. Yes, because she is now going to be on vacation that entire week of Christmas, which she had not planned on. So we wanted to talk about office coverage, and I said that we could bring it up tonight just to discuss it openly, that, you know, we can work it out with her to make sure that somebody will be in the office. I'm going to have a lot of flexibility that, you know, because I told her I work from home, so I can work from town hall and still be working and having some office coverage. But I wanted to put that out there to you both, that as you can see, we have a lot of vacation coming up in the
Well,
next 3 weeks.
I think that looks like Tom Wilson will be here most of those days. The day that she was concerned about, I think we're covered actually, but I told her the same thing. I'm more than willing to come in and help answer phones. I've been doing it for a long time. So if you guys need help, just let me know.
I was just thinking, the offices are closed on the 23rd and the 30th. I don't know.
And the 26th.
Well, the 26th, because that's the holiday. That's the observed holiday. But Melissa and Martha, you're gonna know better than Jack and I. Do those tend to be busier days because people are on vacation? So they come into town hall or,
Not really.
Okay.
It's dead here.
Yeah.
okay.
And you know, you guys can always put something on the door just to notify people who might come in and require a permit, like give them a heads up
Mhm.
when Tom will be here. 'Cause Tom's gonna be the only one that can really process the permits.
Mhm. Okay.
So just bear with us if you have township business over the holidays. I'll do the best we can.
That's my agenda.
Very good. Thank you very much, trustees.
Well, the only thing I had on here is a mention about land donation. Was contacted by Medina County Park District inquiring as to our interest in a joint maintenance agreement if an individual in the township would desire to donate park property to the Medina County Park District. And I asked him to send some information on other agreements that they have with other townships. So once I get that stuff, I'll forward it to you to take a look at. It looks like it's a way for them to have some property, minimize the impact on a township, as well as any concerns that they have over having a piece of property outside of Medina, where they normally have, most of their stuff is south of Ledge there. So I told them that we would look at it, and I just want to let you guys know that I've been contacted.
Very good. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, we're gonna plug right along. I have an update from the Metro Parks. I don't know if anybody has walked the lake in the last 2 days. Ken emailed me that they are going to actually be lowering the level of the lake 4 feet so that the engineers can gather information and take some aerial photos. It's gonna take about a month to safely lower it and a week or two to gather the information. So they look to have everything back up and running as usual right before March. So if you get any phone calls about Hinckley Lake not
Looking a little dry.
looking like it has a fall at all, that is why. I have a packet that I placed in front of you. If you have any questions, please let me know. It's an Amazon purchase for a laser pointer, which I think would be really helpful for the zoning commission. And a new podium here that I'm going to ask that the service department put some wheels on. My suggestion would be to move this podium, which Martha says may date back to 1996, into the old fire station bay for Memorial Day parade and things of that nature. And then a phone case for myself. I was using a case that I had at home so that the township wouldn't be burdened with the additional cost, and it broke. So I have a phone case on here. So if everyone's in agreement, I'd like to make a motion to purchase laser pointer, podium, and cell phone case from Amazon in an amount not to exceed $175.
Second.
Seconded by Sweattick. All in favor, say aye.
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 I can't believe the laser pointer is that much.
I know, but there's a coupon. I got a coupon. Got
Save
5%.
5%.
I got a 5% coupon.
5%.
It's not just a laser pointer. It's for a
You may
cat
get
toy.
the 5%. Is this for the business prime? Or
I
did you
don't
go
know.
on your personal?
I went on my personal.
Okay, as there may be, yeah, there may be a different pricing.
That's why I
So
did
that
amount
should
not
cover
to
it when I
exceed,
Put it
hopefully.
on the business.
Okay.
account.
And then I'll coordinate with you who's gonna help me get that squared away, Martha. Thank you. Wanted to have a quick conversation. The senior center has carpet that needs to be replaced. That was something they had asked for late last year. And when we utilized it this past weekend for the community event, the Hinckley holiday event, we realized how bad it was in there. So wanted to see what your thoughts were about looking into maybe having someone come out and give
I'll
us
have
some
Mike get some quotes.
estimates. Okay. And the other thing was the flagpole. When I was outside walking with Jim from the service department, I noticed that the flagpole with the American flag on it is very rusted. The paint's peeling. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that and see if that's something you'd like to pursue as well.
I'll let Mike look at that too.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
When he's getting quotes, do we want to look at, instead of replacing the carpet, doing like a luxury vinyl tile or something like that instead of carpet, since people are walking on that, you know, with their shoes on and.
Yeah, I thought about that because I really like the luxury vinyl, especially with the weather that we have
Yeah.
here in Ohio.
My recollection is Mike's already done that work. That was something that was supposed to be replaced, that Jim Burns had talked about. So Mike
Yeah, it came
may
up.
already have, I'm sure the price has changed, but
Yeah, I think it came up really late last year about this time. I could be wrong, but with regard to the luxury vinyl, the only concern that we have is that it gets very loud. And I don't know what's underneath that carpet.
concrete.
Yeah, I think it is concrete, because there was a little boy that hit his head. It sounded like concrete.
That's the original.
Yeah, so I don't know how it would float on the concrete versus a plywood.
It's no floats, you put an underlayment, but it's,
You can get a padding too.
But then we would probably have to get some
Okay.
type of rugs in there to reduce the noise and things of that nature. So maybe we price both and make a decision from there.
wait till the seniors don't be wearing clogs. I mean, you know, that's an option. I'll have him look at it and see.
All right.
You tell them, Jen.
Discussion and recap of the public hearing. Do we have any, you want to have any further conversation with regard to the public hearing? I think we'll start with probably the very, very first one, which would be the recommendation from the zoning commission with regard to the historic town center. Any discussion prior to a motion? Because I have one here.
Yeah, I am with both of the zoning reaching, and they kind of lump into both of them. So I'm going to just make my points about both of them. I feel like everything has been done with the zoning commission regarding changing the B1 to a B3. I'm sorry, the B2 to a B3 with the thought that Buzzard Cove would be rezoned to residential. So I feel like that was being done thinking, well, this is also going to be done. And I'm concerned that we have not had any real development in the center of town in 30 years. We haven't had new buildings. And I think we've all said that we would like to see additional businesses come into town. We would like to see more mom and pop businesses. And if we make it more restrictive, I'm worrying that that may make it more difficult for other, smaller businesses to come in. I like the idea of rezoning the center of town. I do like that idea. But this, to me, it feels kind of rushed. Like there was something, for some reason, I felt like it was important to get it to the trustees before the end of the year. And it just seems like there's not a real plan in place yet. And it feels kind of rushed to me.
I mean, this has nothing to do with restrictions. This is just a map amendment. So the question is, do we want to make it a B3?
Well, but they want to change it because they want to put
But that
restrictions
will
in
come
there.
before you again. So.
Right, but that's a big part of why they want to do it. So you can't dismiss one without the other. They want to make it more restrictive. So that's the big reason of why they want to do this. And this is just my thoughts on it that I'm thinking. And I wanted to let you both know how I thought about it. It seems kind of rushed. I like the idea, but I think maybe zoning needs to work on it a little bit more before it comes back to us.
I think the intent was clearly to separate it from the other B2 section, which has water and sewer and is up in the corner of West 130th and Boston Road. It's a completely different area.
Would you, I guess the question would be, would you support some design characteristics that applied just to town center that said, the facade of the building has to meet certain design criteria? Is that something that you'd be supportive of, or?
That's really not the question right now, though.
Well, no, that's my question, because if you did want to do something like that, you have to have a separate town center district to do it. Otherwise, it applies to the entire
Right.
B2.
And I've thought about the pros and the cons on that for, I feel since it's been brought up at the zoning, because my initial thought is, wow, that would look really nice, but I just worry that that's going to put even more limitations on new building. Or people coming in here saying, okay, now it needs to look like this. So you own a piece of property that you're going to build a new building on for your business, but it has to look like this.
Well, you still have the opportunity to reject those restrictions.
Exactly.
But doing this gives you the opportunity to create some if you desire that. If the folks say, look, we want to have a town center that kind of looks cohesive and,
And is a directive in a comprehensive plan. Marcus?
I was just going to say, I want to make sure that we note that it's more than design standards. For instance, when you look at the schedule of area of lot and lot requirements within the B2 for town center, there's no minimum lot area, there's no minimum lot width, and you can have buildings and parking that occupy 80% of the space. That was the current B2. That's what we're carrying forward for B3. But moving forward, we might want to look and say, look at up, on the corner of West 130th and Boston, we don't need to have as tight of spacing within buildings. So we might want to make it more, we might want to only allow buildings and parkings within 70% of the buildable space as opposed to 80%. Currently, because those two are tied together, we can't do any zoning changes with respect to the town center district that don't also impact the district up there, which is very different from both an infrastructure standpoint and from just a general characteristic standpoint of the parcels.
Thank you.
If you're okay, I'll just make the motion and we can vote accordingly.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution to accept the recommendations of the Hinckley Township Zoning Commission and adopt the amendment request to the zoning resolution district map as follows. Rezone all portions of permanent parcel numbers. Do I need to read all these again, Martha?
No, all you need to do is agree with zoning.
Okay, so then I already did that. The motion to accept the recommendation of the Hinckley Township Zoning Commission and adopt the amendment request to the zoning resolution district map. That's
Of approval.
of approval, presenting zoning B2 Hinckley Town Center to B3 Historic Town Center District.
Second.
Seconded by Sweattick.
Augustine?
Yes.
Swedek?
Yes.
Asher?
No. I like the idea. I mean, it passed anyway, so it's a majority, it's a majority vote, but I really like the idea. I just, I have not felt that. It felt kind of rushed to me. And like, I wanted to know more of what the plans are for it, but stay tuned till next year.
Okay, so I'm going to move along to the text amendment change. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns on the text amendment changes that were presented to us by the zoning commission?
I do not.
I do not.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to make a motion for resolution to accept the recommendations of the Hinckley Township Zoning Commission and adopt the text amendment request zoning resolution as follows: chapters 3 definitions, chapter 4 general regulations, chapter 5 districts and maps, chapter 6 district regulations, chapter 7 conditional zoning certificate, chapter 11 site plan review, chapter 16 sexually oriented business, and chapter 18 alternative energy facilities, and references to grammar changes throughout to correct spelling, references to zoning resolution. But we would like to omit page 159 as it is a signature page.
So that differs from the public notice? Are you changing the public notice?
No, I don't. This is not the public notice that I'm reading.
Well,
Part of
what
it
was
is.
submitted in the public notice? That's what I'm asking. The omission?
The signature page was not submitted. The omission. I don't know that we can change that page. We're changing the language throughout the entire document to read the Hinckley Township zoning.
Your motion has to
Board of
be
Trustees.
exactly what was submitted.
Well, unless we modify it, so we can modify it.
You can.
All right, so I'd like to amend the resolution to be a modification of the text amendment to exclude page 159 as it's a signature page. If you look at the signature page,
Would this fall under page numbers, et cetera? I mean, is that, do you follow where I'm coming from?
yeah,
Okay. Does this fall within the items listed in the public notice?
Yes, it was a
Yes.
grammatical
Okay.
change.
yeah.
All
So
right.
if we look at this page 159, just for the trustees,
That's my only.
we're
concern.
changing the Hinckley Township Board of Trustees and all of the entire resolution, but if we change it on this page, it would change the signature page. So we're omitting this page and just keeping it as Board of Township Trustees
Okay.
instead of Hinckley Township Board of Trustees. But it will be Hinckley Township Board of Trustees throughout the rest of the document.
Second.
So it's going to be a modified resolution, seconded by Asherle.
What page was that on?
Page 159.
Augustine,
Yes.
Swire,
Yes.
Asherle.
Yes.
Thank you, Martha. All right, the motion for the district map change from general business to R1, I'm going to be recusing myself from this section. The gentleman that came in to represent Buzzard Cove is a family friend of mine, so I will be recusing myself from this, and I'm gonna ask that trustee Sweattick handle this little blip of hearing, and I can give you this information from number 2.
Would you like to discuss it?
I liked what was brought up also at the zoning meeting of doing like a B4. I know you had talked about not wanting to have too many like spot zoning areas, but I think that that is a very unique area. To everyone's point that has spoken about it is you're not going to change what's there right now. It's just for the future and to remain harmonious with that neighborhood. And, with the parks, I would like to see something like a B4 where it's like outdoor, something like that. I was curious what your business was that you were talking about.
I have an opinion about it that, this is a personal standpoint. I came out here, and I think a lot of the folks that live in Hinckley came out here for the same reason, to get some relief from government involvement. We're a township, we're not a municipality. And at the end of the day, I see this as government overreach. Nobody has applied for a change in zoning status. I understand the concerns with living close to it. That's, I don't know how to correct that. But my personal opinion is that, we're reaching in and changing somebody's life just because we can do so. And I don't know that that's an appropriate thing to do. So is this the motion here? I would make a motion to reject the resolution to accept the recommendations of the Hinckley. No,
No, you are, the zoning commission disapproved the map amendment change. So do you agree with what the zoning commission's vote was? Or do you vote to reject the zoning commission's?
So the zoning
Oh.
commission rejected it.
Rejected
So are we voting, yes, we agree with the zoning commission
we
to reject it?
motion to agree with the zoning commission
To-
to,
Yes. Yes.
okay,
Motion to adopt the recommendation of the zoning commission of disapproval of the map amendment
so moved.
Second,
as outlined in the. So, okay, so Monique, you seconded that?
yes.
Swedek?
Yes,
Cash.
Yes.
The map amendment, it does not pass.
That one.
That map amendment.
Very good. So moving right along, Martha, do you want to do the fund status?
Oh, I got a whole list now. Sorry, guys. I got. Fund status right now is $6,436,357.78. Of which $1,078,388.94 are in pooled investments, and $5,357,968.84 are in primary checking. Within the next week, I will provide the board and the department heads with temporary appropriations that I'll request are approved on the 20th. And just to remind everybody, these are just appropriations to get us through the first month of 2023 until the carryovers are sent over and the budget commission for the county provides us our permanent budget amount. And at that point, then I'll provide the trustees with permanent appropriations. So I have 2 resolutions to request, and you guys, I gave you each the chart that the auditor sent us for tax advances. This is so that we can get our advances sooner rather than waiting for all the tax collections to come in for the February and July tax bills. A motion to approve resolution requesting all the available tax advances from the Medina County Auditor for the year 2023.
Second.
Well, you
moved.
need to move it.
Oh, well,
I can make
you're
So
right.
moved.
Okay.
You're right. Second.
Okay. Augustine,
Yes.
Swedek?
yes,
Asher.
Yes.
And then the second is, again, just for the end of the year, moving some monies around, just to make sure that blanket certificates, I have enough money in them to carry them over into 2023, because if you recall, any purchase made in 22 or a bill with the end of the year dated December 2022 can only be paid with 22 monies. So I need to have enough money to pay anything that might be unexpected. So a motion to adopt resolution which approves the following reallocations. $4,800 from $1,760,720,0000, which is the general fund building fund, as follows. $1,000 into $1,120,341,0000, which is general fund telephone. 2,000 to 1,230,599,0000 other expenses, which relates to, I don't remember what that relates to. It's 130. I apologize. That's why I don't remember that number. That's for buildings, properties, etc. I'll double check that while I'm talking. 1,000 to 130599000, which is zoning, other expenses in the general fund, and $800 to 1,120,353,0000, which is natural gas in the general fund. And let me just check that account number.
So the 2,000 is not 230, it's 130.
No,
Yeah, 2,000 is that's telephone. Okay, 120,341. It's 120. Thank you. 120,599, which is other expenses for buildings. And then the other is 130.
Then are we doing the rest?
Yeah, $700 from 21811303190000, which is other professional and technical services in zoning, and $200 from 21811304200000 zoning operating supplies, and that's going to 21811301100000, which is zoning salaries.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so Augustine,
Yes.
Swedek.
yes,
Asherle.
Yes.
And then just, here, the plate, I have another sheet of paper here. With 2 agendas. Excuse me. Did that. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else.
Thank you so much.
I would just, this is a request. I would request the board have conversations regarding wages and salaries in executive session. I would have to say that I think sometimes if these discussions are not held in executive sessions, it puts the employees in a difficult position. And I would respectfully ask the board to have preliminary discussions in executive session.
So thank you. I want to thank Chairman Fisher for being here this evening to present for the zoning commission. And I also want to thank all of our departments, administration, fire, police, and service for their work on the Hinckley holiday event that was this past Saturday. It was a wonderful event with the tree lighting. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills in $119.20.
Nope.
Well,
Add
100,
1,000,
at how much?
add 119,000.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. I was self-correcting myself and then I thought you were adding more money to it. I'm like, wait, is there another bill?
That's 1,000 number.
$119,026.17.
second,
Seconded by Swedek. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we will open the conversation for the public. Any comments or questions? Please step up to the podium so the virtual audience can hear you.
All right, Jim Larson, 20 Car Road. Let me preface my remarks with saying I don't have any skin in the game on whether the area around Buzzard Code is zoned R1 or B1. But I did have a lot of questions about the Buzzard Code's business entity that was allowed to evolve into what it's become, which it is clearly a nuisance to those people living around it. And changing the zoning of it from R1 to B, it's not going to do anything to it. But I was thinking, how did it come to be? How did an ice cream stand develop into an ice cream stand, putting green, a driving range, and a place that serves alcoholic beverages into, which is what it is today? I recall back a year or so ago, there was a process that they wanted to open up a screen park there at night. And the place was full of people who lived around there who didn't want to see a screen park. I can't recall if it was a conditional use meeting or it was a meeting presented to you folks or what, but I don't understand how it could be denied a use as a screen park, but allow a driving range that's completely, apparently quite inadequate to protect the surrounding houses, how a business could operate from morning to late at night with the noise and the light pollution and all the stuff that goes along with it into what it is today. And you think, well, how do you unwind that? How do you go back? How are you able to deny its use as a screen park, but permit it to do all these other things that are clearly an annoyance to the people who live around there? You know, the geography of that area is very similar to the same geography where I live, where you can hear conversations from hundreds, if not thousands of feet away when the weather is right, just simply because of the shape of the area. So my question probably would be helpful if Mark Fisher would help answer. Can you go back and review all of the activities and functions that that place has evolved into and roll them through a conditional use process to say, well, how, you know, who gave you authority to build the driving range? Who gave you authority to do the pitch and putt, which is pretty innocuous? Who gave you authority to run from 10 o'clock in the morning till midnight and clearly annoy all the people that you know, the neighbors that surround you? So, I mean, I don't have any answers to these questions, but I find it strange that you can deny its use for one thing and allow all these other uses that, you know, remain unquestioned. So the golf course would be, and the driving range would be my number one thing, because it's clearly inadequately protected from, you know, making the lives of residents nearby miserable. You say, I don't, you know, I've only met these people here. I don't know them. They're not friends of mine, but it really is a conundrum to me how that thing could evolve into the way that it is. And so, well, who's responsible? Is it the business owner that's responsible? No, because the township let them do it. So I don't know how you back out of this, how you question it, how you regress that business to something that's more appropriate with the location that it's in. So that's just the question I leave here. I do have one other thing. It's more of a, I want to share a story about a circumstance that I became aware of just a few days ago that involved our fire department, our police department, and residents. And let me preface this by saying it has a happy ending, because it didn't start out as a happy ending. The day before Halloween, there was an accident on Parker Road above on the Hull Hutchinson property up there. There was mother and son riding the golf course up there. There was an accident, son's running down the hill and happened to run into a resident who lived across the street from it. My mom's up there, she needs help. Well, I thought there was you know, golf cart went in a rut and that was that. Well, my mom's asleep, which is a red flag for you. So the resident, who I won't mention, went up the hill, found the golf cart tipped over on the woman who wasn't breathing, was turned blue. They got the golf cart off of her, immediately called police and fire, and the police and fire arrived there. I think he said the police were there in like 4 minutes, have no idea who the officers were. And 7 minutes later, the paramedics arrived there. And there's no doubt in my mind that that woman is alive today because of the intervention of the police, the fire, and the resident who did all the chest compressions and all that stuff to get her breathing again. But she was in serious, serious trouble and severely injured. So I would, you know, I should have said something while the chief was here, but I didn't want to get into the specifics because it's a private matter, you know, but it was an issue and an accident that I had heard nothing about after it happened. You know, there was no notoriety, no nothing. But when the story was explained to me by the gentleman who pushed the golf cart off the woman and did all the chest compressions, I said, holy cow, this was a serious, that she was in the hospital for 24 days, ICU for 5 days, put in a coma. And apparently she's going to be just fine now, but it was a real tragedy avoided. And the police, the fire, and the residents, the 911 operators, the people at Brunswick Emergency, they all pitched in to have a real positive outcome when 1 minute one way or 1 minute another way, it would have been a real honest to God tragedy. So, I'm really happy the fire department got their levy passed to get the people staffed the way they want. It speaks to the compassion and expertise of the police and the fire department that they knew what to do and when to do it and how to do it and to get that person the help that they needed as fast as they could get it. So that's just a really great story for the township and the people who live there. So, and the fire and police department. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. They do a lot of that you never know about.
Exactly, they're wonderful.
Okay.
Cindy Engelman, Ridge Road. I just observational comment regarding I think at the last trustees meeting, there was a couple of residents speaking about the turnabout that ODOT apparently is going to be putting in at 606 and 3. And I guess being that I was at trustees meeting back in September when there was discussion about ODOT possibly putting in a exit entrance ramp off of Boston Road, which is in Brunswick technically. I just felt that perhaps because this is dealing with Hinckley residents who would be directly affected, there should have been some outreach to ODOT in terms of dealing with the trauma for some of these neighbors because they've lived there all their lives and not knowing what might be happening and nobody reaching out to them. So I just feel that if we're going to do something in one circumstance, we should do it in the other or don't do it at all ever. But that's just my comment. Thank you.
That's a good point.
Anyone else?
Actually, a good point.
Comments or questions? Okay. This time I'd like to make a motion to adjourn at 6:57 PM.
Second.
Seconded by Asherle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.